Highlander back. You just saw me playing M.U.S.H.A. because it worked. The story has a positive ending because this is my old Altered Beast cart. I removed the label, completely destroyed it. It was stuck on so well. These guys at Sega, they really knew what they were doing. The label is destroyed. I'm in the process of making my own label. I got off the label off the Repro cart, which is stuck on pretty well as well, but I was able to remove that with a little bit of heat. But the label is too wide for the other cart, so it's not going to go on. Also, the plastic broke. The tabs are supposed to keep this together. It just broke. So it's all around crap. And I'm done with buying reproduction carts. I've learned a lot about burning EPROMs, which I'm going to talk a little bit about. I'll try to not get into all of the details. But some of you suggested in my previous video about the subject that I should get an EverDrive, which I've decided to do. Not in the least because of the donation I have received from Galacticus X. Lambus, thank you, mate. He felt that I should get an EverDrive, and he tried to. Well, it was a little happy Easter gift, so I was. He PayPal'd me a donation, so that's going straight on the Get the Highlander an EverDrive fund, which I will be doing very shortly. Anyway, about the Eeprom burning thing. Oh. How do I make this simple? Okay. I'm going to have to say a couple of technical things. The Sega Mega Drive has a Motorola chip which works in Big Endian mode. It expects, if it reads a 16-bit word from memory, it expects the most significant byte first, and then the least significant bit. The other mode is what you see in Intel systems and in the Commodore is the Little Endian system, where the CPU expects the least significant byte first and then the most significant byte. So, why is that important? It's all important. If you burn an EEPROM with the data in Little Endian format, the Sega Mega Drive will not be able to work with it. It'll just be nonsense on the card. And Martijn, who helped me make this card, and I learned this the hard way. If you watch the videos on burning Sega Mega Drive EEPROMs, you always see people, swap the bytes. Meaning, convert the binary file that you load off the internet, or you download off the internet, convert it to Big Endian mode, and then burn it on the EEPROM. Now this raises all kinds of questions in my head. Why? Now, I've deduced this, that in first instance, people were ripping the ROMs off the Mega Drive carts to use in emulators. And emulators run on Intel systems, mostly. So they, for some reason, it's become popular. If you download a Mega Drive ROM file, it'll be in Little Endian mode, which is not how it sat on the ROM on the cart. Someone swapped from Big Endian to Little Endian mode just to make emulation easier. I think even the EverDrive expects the files to be in Little Endian mode, and it will swap the bytes for you. But if you burn your own EEPROM, then you have to take care of this swapping. I'm saying that correctly. Anyway, the first, neither myself or Martijn had any experience with burning Mega Drive ROM, so we didn't know anything about this Big or Little Endian stuff. I knew of Big and Little Endian, but I just didn't take it into account. If you opened a ROM file, you're likely to open it on an Intel system, which runs in Little Endian mode. And you open the file and you see at the beginning of the ROM file, you see the word Sega. If you read Sega, it just means that the way your system works matches the current state of the bin file, of the ROM file. So if you're on a Little Endian system, Intel Windows, and you open the file and it says Sega, you know that the file is in Little Endian mode, which is the wrong mode for burning on an EEPROM, but the right mode for running an emulator on your. It has to be in the correct. It has to say Sega. If the Endian mode doesn't match your system, it won't say Sega, but it'll say M.U.S.H.A. Now, this is such a puzzle. Can you imagine the smoke coming out of my ears? Because this got so confusing. If you're burning EEPROMs on a Little Endian system, you have it'll say M.U.S.H.A. It has to say M.U.S.H.A. because it has to be in Big Endian mode when it arrives on the EEPROM. Yeah. So most of us are doing this on Windows. So we'd finally figured that out, and I tried to, because Martijn hadn't done anything with this byte swapping, and I was sure that was the problem, but it wasn't. Because if in Mini Pro you select, it's fault upon fault upon fault. If you select the EEPROM type that you're going to burn to, Mini Pro automatically assumes, and this is where I think it's wrong, assumes that the chip is going to be in a Big Endian system. So it swaps the bytes automatically. And in some videos, you don't see this because people don't use Mini Pro. They use some other EEPROM burning, and they have to specifically, swap the bytes. And everyone's blindly swapping the bytes. Now, Martijn hadn't swapped the bytes, but his Mini Pro installation did swap the bytes. To make things even more complex, I contacted Hans B-Wack. I asked Hans, do you use Mini Pro? He said, yes. Would you open this file for me? He opened it, and he said, tell me what you see. He said, I see Sega. And I'm talking to Martijn, and I'm saying, what do you see? He said, I see M.U.S.H.A. So they both used Mini Pro, and they both saw something else. And then Hans came back to me a couple days later. He said, if you select the chip, it says M.U.S.H.A. So Mini Pro assumes that the chip is going to be in either an Amiga or a Sega Mega Drive system, which is completely bonkers. If you don't expect that, Mini Pro doesn't even have a swap byte option. So there's all kinds of people, including Gadget UK, including Martijn himself, who made a byte swapping tool which just goes through a bin file or a binary file and swaps each set of bytes. Nuts. Anyway, once we had discovered that Martijn was actually doing the right thing, but it still wasn't working, so fuck, And we're just burning an EEPROM, right? Simple, right? You watch a video, simple. You just do this, and you just do that, and you swap the bytes, and you do burn. Hey, you press print, you have a label, yay! It doesn't work like that. If you don't know what you're doing, it's a day of hell. And then at the end, you're thinking, fuck off, I'm getting an EverDrive. Anyway, it turns out that the... and I'd looked this up. Can I run a Japanese ROM file, M.U.S.H.A, on a PAL Mega Drive? And yeah, sure, it's the only thing it said that it's not optimized. Whatever that means, it's not optimized. I didn't care about optimized at that moment. I just thought, make it work. So we burned in the correct way, Big Endian mode, on the Eeprom, M.U.S.H.A. By this time, Martijn had the cart and his own Mega Drive out, and he said, I'm going to test it. Didn't work. So Martijn has a friend who came up with the golden tip. Oh, it probably doesn't have the TMSS patch then. The what? The trademark security system. So apparently Sega built in some kind of test to see if you're in the right region, and then if you're not, it shows a copyright message and then a black screen. This information is nowhere. This information is nowhere. Oh, can you run a Mega Drive game on a... Sure, no problem. On a... on a Genesis or the other way. Sure, no problem. Problem. Even if you have a downloaded ROM file. So I decided, Martijn, why don't you burn the M.U.S.H.A ROM file, the US version? He did that, it worked. Right out of the box. So after complimenting me on my fine soldering work, thank you, Martijn, again, he burned the US M.U.S.H.A on my Eeprom, tested it, and it worked, and he sent it to me. I tested it in my Mega Drive. Works a treat. So I know what to do now, right? I'm never doing it again. Unless there's some real important big reason for me to burn another cart. But it's just not for me. It's although for this game, playing it with my arcade stick is it makes it a lot more comfortable. So I'm glad that we've done that. But I'm also going to try to get my Sega arcade stick to work on the Sega Mini, because that has a USB input. So I have to convert the sub D connector to something that converts it to USB. Now there is something, the M.U.S.H something or other. Of course, I can't buy it anymore, and people who are interested in selling it know this, so you're paying a lot of money for it. Thankfully, Martijn is smart enough to build that kind of thing himself, based on an Arduino and some connectors, and you wire it all together, and presto, you write some software, and you're there. He's already made that for the Commodore 64. Now he's making it for the Mega Drive. So I'm gonna either build that myself or buy it off Martijn if he's willing to build one for me. So I'm finally playing M.U.S.H.A on my real Mega Drive. I've already designed, of course, with the original in mind. I've designed my own label. I downloaded some things, some graphics, and again, another video. It's very easy. Oh, you just do this and you do that and you press print and it's done. It's not done. It's way too large. I have to resize everything and whatever. So, but at least I found the graph. Oh, just search for your game and then in images and you'll have it. No, it doesn't work like that. You don't find a high resolution correct picture. But I've done that. This is the high resolution image of the box art, which I've shrunk to fit the inside of this, and now I have to shrink the entire picture, print it on some laminated paper, sticker paper, and then put it on the label on the cart, and then I'll have the cart. I have a box. I can print the box art. I can do that. So I'll have my own repro. It's a nice little project. Just again, 5 years older after this nice little project. Anyway, thanks Martijn for your help. I know we're both working from home. This was a different kind of work. But it worked out well. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave the video there, nice and short. Also, thank you, Martijn, for the Commodore stickers he made me, or I guess he had these lying around. I love Commodore sticker, and the big one, the Ready. You can't see it. The Ready car window sticker. So I'm gonna put this on the Volvo on the back. Great, and some others. So that's very nice. Also, I'm gonna I just got my name on it. I received this today. This is my copy of The Shadow over Hawksmill. A game designed by Trev Story and programmed by Stuart Collier. Commodore 64 game, Shadow over Hawksmill. I've played it. I've streamed a bit of it already, but I'm gonna, take it out of the box and play a little bit. But I'll leave that for another video. But thanks, Cytronic, for sending this to me. I've smartened up. What I do now is I tell PayPal to take the money out of my account after like a period. And for some reason, I don't know how it works, but it takes 21 days, right? Because I got the message today. PayPal said, we've waited 21 days. We're going to pay. No, I think Ken's already has his money, but they're going to take the money out of my account. 21 days, and on the day, it came, right? So that's perfect. I just pay on the day that it comes. So that's 21 days. I know it takes a little longer. I'm fine with it. I'm used to it now. It used to make me very nervous in the beginning, but the packaging is always stellar. God damn it, that was the good one. But these are rugged. Nothing wrong with it. I'm going to test it later. Anyway, package is always good. Game's always good. I'm going to leave that for the next video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.